There are a few instructions that we'll go through that relate to any limited driving privilege that would be requested in relation to a DWI offense. There are a couple of forms that you'll need in order for us to get you a limited driving privilege relating to a DWI. The first and main form is a form that is obtained from your insurance company. It is what is called a DL, like driver's license, DL-123 form, a DL-123 form. This is a form that you'd get from your insurance company. Just call your insurance company, ask them for a DL-123 form. There are a number of reasons why somebody might want a DL-123 form, but it effectively is a particular type of proof of insurance, and it's required for any limited driving privilege that we request. This form is only valid for 30 days, so if you get one for a pre-trial limited driving privilege and then 6 months later are convicted of a DWI and are getting a post-trial limited driving privilege, you're going to need a DL-123 for the pre-trial limited driving privilege, and you're going to need a new DL-123 following the conviction at the time that you get that post-conviction limited driving privilege. In order to get a limited driving privilege, you're also going to have an alcohol assessment. So an alcohol assessment is required regardless of the type of limited driving privilege relating to a DWI. You have to get an alcohol assessment. That basically is a 1 hour, an alcohol assessment is a 1 hour sit down with a licensed alcohol counselor, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in just a few minutes. But effectively you'll need the actual assessment itself, which is a 1-page piece of paper that is made by the person that you're doing the assessment with. It's also helpful to get an employment schedule. Many people do not want to let their employer know about a DWI, and that is better left in the particular person's hands, that decision, and we'll talk about that, but I always leave that decision in the hands of the individual client that is coming to me, whether or not to tell their employer about it. But it can be very helpful if there are odd driving times, either during the nights or weekends or very early morning hours that are required per work. It can be helpful to get something from the employer explaining when driving is required. So if there are odd times, we can talk about that. Then it may be helpful to get a letter from your employer basically stating the times when you have to work, or a work schedule showing the times that you have to work or go to school. Either one, again, class schedule would be helpful on that end. Those are the 3 documents that would be required for any type of limited driving privilege, and then for a limited driving privilege being obtained where there is an ignition interlock device required, you would have to have verification or proof that the ignition interlock has been installed on the vehicle we're requesting the privilege in relation to, so that would be required as well. But effectively the 3 main documents to be required would be the DL-123 form, the assessment from the insurance company, and then proof of your working hours if those occur on the nights, weekends, or early morning.